If you're going to create a form that's not an e-sign form, but just a normal Acrobat form, then you can include things like barcodes and action buttons and extra things that you don't get in e-sign forms. Let's just make a normal Acrobat form by going to Tools and going Prepare Form. Once I hit the Prepare Form tool, I can select a file. And I'd like to set the file just called Car Rental Checklist and continue. And this does not require signatures. It's not an e-sign form. So I'm just going to click Start. Immediately I can see the form and I'm going to save it as Ctrl-Shift-S, Car Rental Form. And save. Now on the Prepare Form pane, you see the button More. And if I click the More button, I can revert this document to just a normal Acrobat form. And I'll click OK. Now what I'd like to do is delete the field starting with signature 3 in the signature box. So I click it and I press the delete key. And what I'd like to do instead is actually put a digital signature to the right of the word signature. So looking up here on my toolbar, I can see that there's a button called Add a Digital Signature. So I click this and I click to the right of signature. I can go into All Properties and I can name this, let me move this into view, Digital Signature. And I'll use a tooltip that says, actually I'll leave the tooltip alone. Now if I go to Signed, I actually want to choose the option Mark as Read Only All Fields. And so Mark as Read Only All Fields and Close. Now the next thing I want to do is just resize this signature so it's the same length as some of the other fields and looks to be part of the form. Now what I want to do is I want to add a button. To add a button, I go up to the toolbar and there's this button with OK written on it. If I click that button and then just click to the right of the heading Renters section, I can go into All Properties and I can give the button a name. I'd like to name the button Reset. And the tooltip will be Clear Form Data. Under Appearance, I can say that I want to choose Arial. Actually Arial Bold. And I'll have red as my text colour. So this is the appearance of the text on the button. I'm going to go to Options and I'm going to label only and label it Clear Form. Now the action is what the button will actually do. So if I go to Actions, I can select a trigger and my trigger is on focus, which means it gets clicked. On focus, or when the button's clicked, I can then choose the action that I want this form to do. And I simply want it to reset the form. I'll click OK or Close and I've made my button, which I can then stretch and size until I'm happy. And so I've made a button that basically clears the form. What I can do is I can preview the form and test it. Perhaps I put a full name in here. And if I clear the form, it clears it. Didn't work. Let me just go Close. So why is my Clear Form button not working? It's because I've missed a step. Let's go Close or Edit. Let's double click to get into the properties of the button. And what I forgot to do is click the Add button. If I click the Add button, I can select all the fields and OK, and that will make sure that all the fields are cleared. So if I go Close and now test it by going to Preview, there's my name there and I can clear the form. In fact, if I just put some data in each of these fields and then click Clear Form, they'll all be cleared. So don't forget to click Edit, double click, don't forget to click the Add button. So I'll close that. Now I want to add another button. So I've gone back to Edit and I'm going to go up to my toolbar and I'm going to click the Add button, click that, and I'm going to click to the right of Clear Form. I'm going to go into All Properties, and this button I'd like to name under General, Submit. And this button is to submit form data. I'll go to Appearance and I'll change it to Arial Bold. And I'll change the colour to red. And then I'll go to Options and I'll label the button Submit Form. I'll go to Actions and I'll select the trigger on Focus and I'll choose the action Submit a Form. If I then click the Add button, don't forget to do that, I can enter a URL and this is where the data will be emailed to. So I'm going to type mail to, and then my email address. It will export it as a PDF, export format as PDF. And, actually this option here, PDF the complete document. So I want to, when they submit this form, I want it to email the completed PDF form to my email address. And I'll go OK. If I then click Close and resize the button, I'm just going to make both of these buttons a bit taller because I think they should be, and this one a bit wider. If I then preview my form, I can see my buttons. If I type my name, and an address, notice the autocomplete, and a city, and I'll just submit the form. At least one required field is empty. Choose OK. Looks like I have to enter these red fields. They're all the required fields. So the state, I'm just going to put 1 and 0. The zip, well, actually, let's just make it that these aren't required because it's a bit painful to do that. So let me just edit. I'm going to double click on the state field and I'm going to go into General and say that this is not required to be filled in. And it's no longer red. I'm going to double click this and say this is not required. And phone number, I might say that's not required either. So those fields are no longer red and I no longer have to fill them in. I might do it for this one as well, not required, just to make it easy to enter data. So now if I go preview, it still remembers the data I was typing. I can now get rid of this dummy data here. And what I can do is just submit. It will use my, if I choose this option, my default email program, which is Outlook. And I can ask it to remember my choice, but I'm just going to go continue. And so that will have actually emailed me a completed PDF form of that document. I've just quickly opened up so you can see. So this is the email that will be sent to me with the completed PDF file attached, and I'll receive that as having been a completed submitted form. And so I'll close this email without saving. Now you may have noticed as I was filling things in that it starts to anticipate what it is that you're typing. And so that's autocomplete, and I've enabled the autocomplete. So how did I actually do that? Oops, sorry, one moment. I basically went into Edit and I went into my preferences. And on the left hand side you can choose Forms. And it's in here that you can turn on, under autocomplete, that you want to have that turned on. Choose Advanced and ask it to be an advanced autocomplete and ask it to remember any numerical data such as phone numbers. And so by doing that, it starts to anticipate my address, my phone number, my name, and other details when I fill in a form. And OK. Now I want to save this form, so I'm just going to go back to Edit. I'm going to go to File and I'm going to save as Other. And what I want to save it as is a reader extended PDF, because I want to enable more tools, including filling in forms and saving the form so that the person who fills in the form can save the data that they've entered and a record of their form that they filled in. I'll save now, and so I'll just go save and yes, and I've basically completed a Acrobat form using action buttons that a person can fill in and submit to me using email, and they can also save the data that they've entered and keep a copy of the PDF form themselves because I've saved it as a reader extended PDF.